I was doing a nightclub in Oakland 16 years ago, and this is the first time that the trans community ever got mad at me that I knew about. And I was nobody. I just quit Chappelle's show. It was like a nothing hole-in-the-wall club, and I was doing some transgender jokes in Oakland. It was 16 years ago. My pronoun game was not as nice as it is today. I went too far. I said things like tranny and shit. I didn't know these words were bad, and a woman stood up and just gave me the business. Started screaming at me, and I'm sure it was a woman, but she kept calling me transphobic and all this shit. I'd never even heard these words before. It's really weird. I didn't trip. I just gave security the look like, you know, get that bitch out of here. And I kept it moving. And then she went to the press, and the next day, one of the gay papers wrote all the same things she had said to me about me in the paper. Misquoted the jokes and was calling me transphobic. And again, all these words, I'd never heard them before, but every time that I talked with anybody from that community since, they always repeat the talking points from that article. My least favorite of which being, and I hate this phrase, they say I was punching down on them. Punching down. The fuck does that mean? Now fast forward, it's 2019. I'm in a restaurant in Ohio, a very nice restaurant. It's Thanksgiving week. And to be honest, it's not a very nice restaurant, but it's a nice restaurant if you're a white person from Ohio that's never been anywhere before. Picture Chili's. I'm sitting at the bar, I'm having a drink by myself, and the only other person in the bar is a woman, a couple stools down, and she was alone, and she was older, and that made me feel sad because it was the holidays. So I told the bartender, send that woman a drink on me. She's trying to spread the cheer, and I wish I didn't. This woman wanted to talk. She wasn't mean, she was nice, but she just wanted to talk about shit that, you know, I mean, the nigga that's trying to get drunk don't want to hear about this bitch remodeling her bathroom, and I'm sitting there trying to be polite. Oh, subway tiles, word. But then she hits a lick, piqued my interest. She says, my daughter is coming home for the holidays. Oh, that's great news. I'm glad you're not gonna be alone. And then she goes on and on about how great her daughter is. I guess her daughter got a new agent, and she's out in Hollywood, she's in movies and on television and all this stuff. And as she's telling me this, I'm thinking, this woman is so sweet. She probably doesn't even know who I am or what I do for a living. Because I know what your daughter's out in Hollywood doing. And then she goes, would you like to see her picture? Oh, now I don't want to see this woman's picture, but what am I going to do? I go, okay, yeah, sure, I'd love to see the picture. And I grab the picture, and this is all I say. This is all I say. Oh. She's very beautiful. And as she puts the picture away, she looks mean all of a sudden, like she caught me in some kind of trap. What does that face mean? And then she goes, she's transgender. And I think to myself, oh, this bitch does know who I am. I really resented that trap because that trap doesn't let me be honest. If I was honest, I wouldn't fall for it. I just looked at the picture like, ooh, look at that big chiseled jawline, that big thick Joe Rogan neck. Is that a dude? Is your daughter a man? Can't say that shit. It's really annoying. Fast forward, now it's a couple days later. It's the Wednesday. For the Thursday, that's Thanksgiving, and I'm in a totally different bar. And this bar, trust me, it's not a nice place. It's foul. It's one of those bars where the top shelf should be under the sink. This is where the poor whites drink, the tiki torch whites. You know what I mean? Them white people, they believe in Q and they love Trump. You know what I mean? Like Michigan white people. I remember I was at this bar one time. This is that kind of bar it is. I was in there one time, I was fucked up. And Turn around to everybody in the bar, go, hey, everybody, I'm gonna buy everyone in the bar a round of drinks. And all the motherfuckers like, hoorah! And the bartender knew I was drunk, so she pulled me aside. Mr. Chappelle, are you sure about that? That's going to be $16. Tough time for the whites. And this was a holiday weekend, you know what I mean? These motherfuckers was having a rootin' tootin' time. They was in there partying, making all them noises. Woo! Ow! Yow! You know all them noises white people make before lynching? They was doing all that shit. I was drunk. I looked over my shoulder. I thought I was tripping. I guess who was in the bar? I thought I was seeing things. I looked across the room, and I saw the trans bitch from the picture. I couldn't believe it. I said, what is a trans person doing in a place like this? This is very dangerous behavior. And she was with two big, buff, gay black dudes. I didn't know these dudes, but I know they was gay. If they had a dick in their mouth, they wouldn't look any gayer than they did just sitting there. They had 1980s gay face. You know what that is? Remember in the 80s when gay people looked surprised all the time? Close your mouth, nigga. What's surprising? You know what I mean? But they was huge. They looked like Juicy Smouille's trainers. And I'm thinking, man, these motherfuckers in a line of trouble. So what I do is I stand up, and everybody in the bar likes me, so I make a big show of it to make sure that everyone can hear me. I walk right up to her, and I go, hey, I just met your mother the other night, and she told me all the great things you're doing in Hollywood, and I cannot believe that someone from a podunk place like this can achieve all that. I'm so proud of you. Welcome home. And the whole bar said, hoorah. And I said, whoosh. That ought to buy her some time. You know what I mean? A couple more drinks and these fellas are gonna start asking her for some pussy she might not have. And she was very gracious. She said, thank you so much. And we shook hands. And as she was shaking my hand, her face turned mean like her mom's. And she said, do you mind not punching down on my people? Ooh, I don't like that. Normally I would have let it go, but I was drunk. I said, what might you mean, bitch? I was careful to call her a bitch because I didn't want to blow her cover. Turns out she wasn't hiding. She was loud, she was proud. She let me have it in front of everybody. Screaming at me, all the talking points from that article. You transphobic, this and that. Kept clapping her hands in my face. Let me tell you something. I said, where you learned this from? Black bitches kept doing, let me tell you something, honey. So annoying. She kept calling transgenders her people. Isn't that weird? My people this, my people that. I said, what do you mean your people? Was y'all kidnapped in Transylvania and brought here as slaves? She said, my people have struggled for decades, honey. Decades. And I looked at them gay black dudes like, is there anything you niggas need to tell this bitch? Clifford. I'm exaggerating. She's actually a very nice person, and I'm cool with her now, but boy, that shit got on my nerves. And it got on my nerves because whenever someone says that to me, I know they've never seen me for themselves. They just repeat what they've heard. Any of you who have ever watched me know that I have never had a problem with transgender people. If you listen to what I'm saying, clearly, my problem has always been with white people. I have been arguing with the whites my entire career. And just when I thought I had you guys on the ropes, you changed all the rules. Oh, yeah? Yeah, motherfucker. Well, I'm a girl now, nigger, and you must treat me as such. call me a girl, nigger. It's annoying as fuck. No. Go back tonight after the show. Watch every special I did on Netflix. Listen to everything I ever said about that community. I'll go through them. I said, how much do I have to participate in your self-image? I said, you shouldn't discuss this in front of black people. I said, I know niggas in Brooklyn that wear high heels just to feel safe. I asked you, why is it easier for Bruce Jenner to change his gender than it is for Cassius Clay to change his name? If you listen to what I'm saying, I'm not even talking about them, I'm talking about us, and they don't listen. It's very annoying. And they've canceled people that are more powerful than me. They canceled J.K. Rowling. My God, J.K. Rowling wrote all the Harry Potter books by herself. She sold so many books, the Bible worries about her. And they canceled her because she said in an interview, and this is not exactly what she said, but effectually, she said gender was a fact. And then the trans community got mad as shit. They started calling her a TERF. I didn't even know what the fuck that was. But I know that trans people make up words to win arguments. So I looked it up. TERF is an acronym. Stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists. This is a real thing. This is a group of women that hate transgender. They don't hate transgender women, but they look at trans women the way we blacks might look at blackface. It offends them. Like, ooh, this bitch is doing an impression of me. Now, I shouldn't speak on this because I am not a woman, nor am I a trans. But as we've established, I am a feminist. That's right. I'm Team TERF. I agree, man. Gender is a fact. You have to look at it from a woman's perspective. Look at it like this. Caitlyn Jenner, whom I've met, wonderful person, Caitlyn Jenner was voted Woman of the Year. Her first year as a woman. Ain't that something? Beat every bitch in Detroit. She's better than all of you. Never even had a period. Ain't that something? Oh, I'd be mad as shit if I was a woman. I'd be mad if I was me. If I was in a BET Awards sitting there and they're like, and the winner for Nigger of the Year, Eminem, my man. Gender is a fact. This is a fact. Every human being in this room, every human being on earth had to pass through the legs of a woman to be on earth. That is a fact. Now, I am not saying that to say that trans women aren't women. I am just saying that those pussies that they got, you know what I mean? I'm not saying it's not pussy, but that's like beyond pussy or impossible pussy. You know what I mean? It tastes like pussy, but that's not quite what it is it? It's not blood, that's beet juice. Oh, buddy, I'm in trouble now.
But don't worry, on account of if we happen to crash into the Pacific Ocean, the seat cushions are not only seat cushions, they are also boats. Yep, they're boats. All the time, you turn on a TV and the guy goes, well, a plane crashed in the Atlantic, but it's all right. Everybody, listen to the ladies, so they're all just on their boats. People are going, God damn, why did I buy that boat? I should have just got a fleet of seat cushions. I would have saved all kinds of money. I've noticed lately, everybody has an opinion. And when I was young, it wasn't that way, People would have maybe, 6 opinions, Sometimes you meet a guy, he'd have 8 opinions. You go, God damn, that guy's opinionated. But about 6 opinions, that'd be about, and most of them were about food, I would drop the mic, but I paid for it.
That was sweet, man.
Holy shit.
Tearjerker ending. Fuck.
Yep. I thought of 2 things. The first thing I thought of was I might owe Drew Michaels an apology because he made a special with no audience and I hated it. Because I looked at it like a swimming meet with no water or like that's the whole thing. But this was very endearing. It was amazing.
The form is different. It's not, strictly speaking, stand-up. It's something else. And the great gift could have been to be in a room full of people when Norm did that for those people. Right. Because that would have evaluated, measured, and directed what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. And for us to sit here and look at it is not a true test of anything, really, other than we all love Norm. And my God, he's certainly prolific, certainly energetic, but we weren't watching stand-up comedy because it was impossible. But there's something there, for sure.
Oh, there's no question.
Yeah.
I also forget how poetic he is.
Yeah.
With Norm, I didn't know him that well in the 90s. And then when my dad died, I had to do a movie with Norm. And I tried everything to get out of that movie because I was inconsolable. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't get out of it. And working with him was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. It was like he was the right guy at the right time. I was inconsolable.
Did he talk to you about your dad a lot? Or what did he do?
Never came up.
Uh-huh.
He just made me laugh.
Yeah, right.
He just, and it was, wistful and musing. And Norm is, you never knew he was setting something up or not. We were just hanging out, and all of a sudden it'd be like this punchline out of nowhere. But it started to become like work was like a church I go to. Like I couldn't wait to get to work and just hang around this guy.
Sweet,
and I knew he was special.
Yeah.
And I've known people for years and years that didn't make me laugh as much as he did in that 8 or 10 weeks. So he's like a real special person to me. And the way he's funny, I just never seen someone get at it like that.
The element that I always admired was the connection to the audience. And his asides and his looks and his pauses were interpreted exactly the way he knew they would be interpreted. Mm-hmm. And that fueled the ridiculous nature of some of the presentation. And without that audience, you don't get the full measure of Norm.
Right.
It was like the audience was his partner. Everybody was in this together with Norm.
Yeah, I agree. I like the way he said it. The audience was his partner.
Yeah. That kind of felt like the gentle Norm that when you would sit and hang out after our shows on the road and we'd be on the bus with him and he'd still be being funny, he would kind of perform like that. Like he'd say his material to you, he'd kind of commit to it, but he just kept going and going and going and going. It looked like he was just like, I want to get everything out, everything I've been thinking about. Anyways,
he had I think best word choice of maybe any comedian I've ever seen. Yeah. He intentionally mispronounces words.
Yeah.
When he knows how to say TV. Mm-hmm. He says it's the TV. Mm-hmm. He came on our show, I think it was his first appearance, and he was talking about a Doberman, and he said it's a Doberman. And he knows. But he's constantly screwing with you on every level.
Right.
But his word choice is, he was like Mark Twain. He had this folksy, completely out of time. And I don't know if he was born 300 years too late or 300 years too early, but he's talking in a way, no one speaks like that. And you really appreciate the way he says things and his timing. He talks
like a 1930s Canadian dock worker.
Yeah.
Does it remind you a bit of Face in the Crowd, some of the early stuff, where he's just communicating from himself to a radio audience?
Yeah.
That's what I thought of early on in this.
Yeah. you know, it's funny because when the way I experienced him, as you did, Dave, was, you know, really on the talk show format. And later on, when I would look at the clips of him on my show, that I would think, I don't even know that I needed to. I was there just laughing, but I was in no way. He's totally self-fueled. Yes, it's nice when you hear the audience there, but he's also, you know, what he's doing is so absurd and ridiculous. And this was an exercise in, I mean, I couldn't do that if you just put a camera there and said, you've got 50 minutes and go. I would lose my train of thought, or I need other people there for me to find the next thing. He's completely, when I look at his appearances that he did with me, I think, I didn't need to be there. Right. I mean, I'm glad I was there. I'm selfishly glad I was there. But
you need a second to think. Like I don't know if he's got a set list or there's no really looking down. There's no bumbling. There's no thing. It was just kind of go, 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 go. I didn't see where that would be, and to remember all that.
It was the presentation, considering the circumstance, the presentation was robust, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I like
Energetic.
the messiness. I like the dog. I like
Well, the dog
like
and a
just
phone call.
And you were saying that, you know, the guy without the audience, and this is just more, there was no choice. You know, it's different when he just has to do it. The other guy picked not to have an audience.
That's absolutely right, but I didn't even think it was possible.
Yeah.
And I feel like he landed the trick.
Yeah.
His timing is like a drummer's. It's like a jazz drummer.
But what would the timing have been with an audience? Still perfect?
I can't tell. You know, he's so nice with it. I feel like it looked like it was supposed to be there. I can't. It's hard to explain.
This is like listening to a good book on tape.
Yeah, it's really.
Yeah, that's good.
It reminds me of what I liked about him. He's a soothing person to be around.
Yeah, gentle.
There's something about my favorite comedy it's counterintuitive, makes people feel safe, like everything's going to be all right. This guy was, in a weird way, reconciling his mortality hilariously in front of us. And ironically, he's no longer with us. We're sitting in the aftermath of the life of Norm Macdonald, watching like him be incredibly alive. Like,
but his circumstance, he nudged into it several times.
Right.
But didn't linger.
Yeah.
And to us, from this perspective, powerfully meaningful.
Oh, he definitely wanted to. I'm sorry, Molly.
No, no, you go, Adam.
I was just gonna say he definitely wanted to make the point he loves his mom.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's a
Because it was like a
tearjerker part.
moment where you just have this glimpse where he takes a pause and he's like, she's great.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was so.
He's talking a lot about. I mean, he's talking a lot about mortality. He's talking a lot about death, and obviously now that people, you know, comics talk about that all the time, but it has this.
How would those have registered in front of a live audience, do you think?
not one of the suckers' mother's tits would kill.
Oh, well, that would have murdered.
He
had a
went
bunch
all
of
the way
things that
around
would
the
have
barn
murdered.
for that.
Because, he went all the way. It's right. That's the right. He went all the way around the barn. He had this great way of making you. He'd plant the seed, walk all over the hill, around the silo, down to the brook. You've forgotten about it, and then he lands that again, and it's joyous. It's just joyous.
Yeah.
But this form makes me so appreciate. It's what I always knew, but his face, his eyes, and his eyebrows. I always said there's something almost like a jack-o'-lantern. He's got such a great, his expressions when he's talking about after someone's completed the act, when he becomes, what am I going to do now? I'm going to go down and have a cheese sandwich. He's such a terrific performer. I mean, he's really just got this, and he's telling the whole story like a great 1920s silent film comic.
When he smiled, I could picture him as a child.
Oh yeah.
He is he was my senior, but he's got a boyish charm. When he laughs at his own jokes.
Oh man, him laughing is amazing.
There's something just joyful about watching it.
Does anybody know the length of time it would take him to compile an hour of material? Would that be 6 months,
he had
a year?
more material. We were on the road one time, and he would swap sets out of nowhere. he'd be like, I'm gonna try some. I don't know. He didn't even really talk about it. We'd say, "You doing this joke?" He'd be like, "Oh, I don't know
flip
about
a whole
that."
half out. Yeah,
He'd
he'd flip
flip.
the whole
Yeah,
set.
he one time in some conversations, he goes, "I got a good 8 hours now," or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, 8 hours.
Do you remember that Star Search bit he used to do? The scaffolding in the bit was always the same, but I never seen him do it the same twice. And he would just make up these crazy Star Search intros.
Oh, Star Search.
Star Search.
Yeah.
This next band's been kicking around the Miami area for the last 15 years. Give it up for overnight sensation, he'd say. And like, he would do that. Like he had a million of them. And I'd seen him do the bit a bunch of times. Never the same. The lyric, the scaffolding was the same. The lyrics always changed.
He also had an infinite collection of old stories, I think probably from, rural Canada or traveling salesman stories. And I would be delighted because, he'd come out and I'd be laughing. It was the only person I could say this about. I'd be laughing before he did anything. He'd come out from behind the curtain and he's got those cheeks and those eyes. And I've looked at the tape, I'm just laughing. He hasn't done anything yet. And then Norm, how are you? And he's like, bought a farm.
Yeah.
And I know immediately this is complete bullshit. And I'd say, the whole thing is a complete waste of everyone's time, and it's joyous because
he's reveling in it.
He's reveling in every second of it.
This wife, Ruth, he was speaking of.
Nothing's real.
Yeah,
There's
Agnes at the desk.
Yeah.
I can remember reading his autobiography and enjoying it, but being greatly disappointed about 10 pages in when I realized it was all fantasy. I want to know about Norm's life, but this was other solar system.
We were on the road with it was Adam and Rob Schneider, Norm, and a bunch of us. And some nights he'd flip the whole set, but some nights he would do like the bomb set, and he would just walk people, and he would do it almost on purpose. So some nights he would just say, "This is the set you're getting," and
he
just
did
see what happens.
This is courtesy of Jim Downey, who did Update with Norm. Said, it's the thing that stuns me is there's dress for Saturday Night Live and then there's air. And Norm would do his set for Update in front of the dress crowd. And it'd be certain jokes that got absolutely nothing. Now, a sketch can maybe do better on air than it did, but a joke, if it bombs at dress, in that format, it will bomb on air. It just will. So he had undisputed proof that his joke was going to bomb, but he liked the joke. And he'd turn to Downey and say, we're doing it. And Downey would say, oh, that's a great joke. Yeah, we're doing it. Now, that I like to do well. And if I'm handed absolute proof that I will fail, I will change course.
Sure.
I will admit it. I'm not that guy. There's something in him that's unbelievably fearless.
What you're describing there, when I would watch those segments, they were delightful. There was something more exciting and interesting about the silence and Norm's joy at having landed the dud.
And holding a smile.
It was thrilling. It was heroic.
He was telling us, this is a good joke. And I'm sticking with it. And his eyes would just light up when he was getting nothing. And you got what I'm serving tonight. This is what we're serving at the restaurant.
Yes.
And this is what you're eating. And you're going to, there you go. Yeah?
That's a perfect way to put it. It's like a master chef. What do you know? Well, fuck your taste buds.
The sushi restaurant where they go.
Yeah.
You don't do California rolls here.
Yeah. I just like that. Yeah, that guy is certain, and his sensibility. It's fun to watch.
You get more than a joke and a laugh. You get that tone. You get that attitude. There is that invisible connection. Yeah, we know what you're up to, Norm, and this is what we love.
It's like why rock and roll is cool. The swag of it, like she's just doing it. He's hip, bro. It was great.
He came on our show one time, your old studio, the late night show, and I went in just to say hi before the segment, and he's in the dressing room right outside the double doors, inconsolable, because he had bet on a big game that had just ended.
Oh, yeah.
I'm there to try and make sure that the guest is in a good mood.
Right.
We're going to have a good ramp up. And I remembered him just, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I hear the band outside. It's going to be good time show business with a man that just lost 55,000. Who knows what he lost, you know?
Recently destitute Norm Macdonald.
Exactly, yeah.
Did he give that up? Do we know?
I don't know.
I don't know 100%.
Well, it was him reading an excerpt from his book or his book on tape where he describes his gambling addiction
Yeah.
so poetically.
Oh wow.
He talks about roulette.
Roulette,
Yeah. It's
how
a book on tape.
hopeful it is
Yeah.
to be he's addicted to the hope of it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way you can talk about Norm and not, because we all know that gambling was, part of his life, and you can just, in his comedy, he's just always putting everything on 17 red or 35 red. It's like, that's amazing that it's really the same, the same thrill.
Yeah, you're right. That's interesting.
I'm not taking that,
He's
I have a funny Norm gambling one. So, and this is everything is true. So, because some of it doesn't make sense, but we lived in the same building. I went up to visit him in his room. We come up at his apartment. That was going into his apartment was bananas as it is. But we're having a nice time, and I say, "You got any soda?" And I open up his fridge, and I swear to God, $25,000 worth of chips. Atlantic City chips are in his fridge. And I go, "What's this?" He goes, "Oh, I won big. I won big on Friday." And I said, "Well, why did you cash it in, buddy?" He goes, "Well, I brought it here so I could talk to Bernie Brillstein to see how I don't have to pay taxes on it." So I go, "Oh," and he goes, yeah, so I'm going to bring it back Monday. And he told me no matter what, I got to pay taxes. So, it didn't work out there. So whatever, I go, "Oh, that sucks." So anyways, I see him at Saturday Night Live on Monday. I go, "Did you cash that in?" He goes, "I lost it all."
We go down the elevators, and they have limos for us for the SNL to go to the after party. So we get in them, and then Max, the guy, goes, "Oh yeah, Norm sometimes takes us to Atlantic City." So he just skips the party. They go right there. And on Monday, he comes back. He said the same thing. He goes, he keeps chips in his refrigerator because no one looks in the fridge if they're robbing him.
Oh,
That was another.
Wow, that's ingenious.
Better than the Bernie.
That's what I'm doing. That's fantastic. Wow.
Man, you guys are lucky to get to work with them that way.
Yeah.
There's a few people in my career that it's like why I go to the fights if I know Mayweather's fighting or something, because I know this guy is great and he's only got but so many fights in him. This guy.
I was gonna say I really liked him right away. I just saw him. I felt like I understood him a different way, and I felt like deep down he was actually very, very shy.
Oh yeah.
Right? Don't you
Very
think?
shy.
And sweet.
And so sweet.
Yeah, nice talked about your parents a lot. He loved his dad more than anything. He talked about his dad a lot. Loved his mom, his brother, his
deeply
his boy.
So sensitive. I was saying, so when you lost your dad, Dave, and you were talking about that, I'm sure he really was like wanting to make you feel so good and so sweet and thoughtful, and probably thought deeply about that. That's how he would approach it to kind of.
It seemed very thoughtful,
Right.
and wildly, disarmingly empathetic. It's very rare that I meet somebody in a professional situation that made me put my dukes down like that. Like defenseless again. Like, oh, this guy doesn't have an ounce of judgment in him unless it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And Dave, when does that movie come out?
I remember when you did that movie. I remember that.
And the irony, I really did try to get out of it, but I couldn't imagine my life without having done it or getting to spend that time with him.
Do we know if he did any of this material in front of an audience?
We knew some from that tour. That tour was right before Corona. I think it was about.
Remember the day before the lockdown, Norm had some set that went viral. It was a cookie jar dunk. I remember, like, me and my buddies in Ohio were all like, yo, did you see this Norm Macdonald said? It was on YouTube, probably still on there. He destroyed. And he even
Oh, right.
he
At the Improv,
Yeah,
right?
we're
When
all
he
gonna
talked about
die, and
the pandemic.
It
Yeah.
was a
Incredible.
cookie jar dunk. And you
Yeah.
could tell it was off the rip. And it was all that, all the anxiety that the day before the whole world goes into lockdown.
Yeah.
And he was just on some fuck it. And it felt so good. Again, it made me feel like everything's gonna be fine.
Well, if you were alive and were doing this show that we watched tonight somewhere in front of 200, 300, 400 people, killer, standing O, what would be their impact?
Well,
here?
yeah, the question to me is, I mean, he's touching on some third rail stuff, and it really depends on
Yeah, he didn't have to leave on a big laugh. So he would go on. Some of his shit would murder.
Yeah.
Some of his shit would eat it. Some people would be like get annoyed, upset that he said it, and then like most of us, you go, all right, let me get out of this fucking hole and come up with a big joke because I'm about to get off. He'd go, all right, let's keep going down and we'll get out on that.
I'm certain of this 25 minutes of this would kill.
Yeah.
Right.
Which would probably be about, with laughs,
Yeah.
add water, 35,
time,
38 minutes, easy.
you'd have notes. You'd have people saying,
Well,
yeah,
if you
don't
try
want
to
be
practice it, plus like cannibal stuff, or when he says it gets unread, I go, fuck, so close.
Yeah.
But all those, there's some stuff that's for sure laugh lines that would work anywhere, and then he pulls you away from it for a while, and then and they're trickier stuff. It's trickier to figure it out, and he would lose some people.
It's hard to separate. I buy it. You know what I mean? Like I'm in.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
it's like watching a 4-hour movie set at a certain point. It's like I'm just invested in this as an experience.
That's true.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to separate myself from that.
And it's fun to watch him acknowledge what would be the silence.
Yeah. I can see.
and enjoy it.
Yeah,
enjoy
and I could see in his mind there was a crowd there. He was anticipating this crowd, and which reminds me again, this guy was very deliberate in how he approached this, because it does seem like jazz. But it's very methodical.
It's funny because he's, all I've ever heard about Norm is that I think he was the most widely read comedian. Very widely read, highly intelligent. I think a great, great mathematician. I mean, things that you would never think. He was talented in all these areas. And choosing, what's my diction? What's my word going to be? What's the right word here? And what's it exactly going to be? So you get this, because he seems reckless, but he's also ruthlessly planned everything out and thought it through.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to go together, but with him, they do.
Yeah.
What was his, I'm sorry, Molly.
Oh,
go
I
ahead.
was going to say before, I think in the last, 13, 14 years, he got, as you said, Conan, he was reading 4 or 5 books at a time, Russian literature. Mark Twain was his favorite author. He loved Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. But he got really into reading about God and Christianity.
Oh, yeah.
And really wanting to understand God.
Where he's headed.
Feeling maybe close to death.
Yeah,
or
sure.
thinking about death, but really, really wanting to understand God.
I don't know how everyone else felt here, but Norm was sick for quite a while, and he got sicker, and I didn't know, and I talked to so many people who I was sure knew. I thought maybe I'm the only one that doesn't know, and so many he didn't want anybody to know.
I didn't know.
And so, being the self-absorbed person I am, I think a lot of us, we thought, is he mad at me? Is there something I did?
Sure.
Because we kept trying to get him to come back on, and we couldn't. He couldn't do it because I don't think he was up for it, and he didn't want to answer questions about maybe, his appearance or anything. But I remembered when he went, everybody in the community we all thought we were the only one that didn't know, and we were so upset that we didn't get a chance to tell him what he meant to us. And then I was very quickly realized he would not have tolerated that. He didn't
Yeah.
want it.
Oh,
He
right,
didn't
yeah.
want any of us to tell him.
He'd get grossed out.
He'd get very
I think
unhappy.
it's treat him different or laugh at
Yeah,
his
you,
jokes.
you reflect on experiences you had with him during the time he was ill and wondered if that had manifested itself because of the illness.
Right.
I'm curious as to what his process was, if you knew how he wrote.
My experience was so chaotic. I thought this guy is Evel Knievel. He's going to jump Snake River Canyon. He doesn't care. But he put a ton of work into what he was doing and worked it out a lot of the time. So I don't know what that process was. But, I mean, this really impressed me with how self-contained it is
Yeah.
and how
He
certain he is.
scribbled a lot of stuff down all the time. He was just like most comedians. He's constantly writing his jokes down. But
It's a lot of work. No laughs. A lot of work.
yeah,
He
It's funny that
said, you said something that reminded me of, I don't know what story he was telling me, but the story was, in the beginning of the story, he's telling me he used to go to this Christian revival church.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, I didn't really believe any of this stuff. I go, then why'd you go? And I love what he said. I don't even remember what he was talking about. He goes, because it made me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And the last time I saw him was at the Comedy Store. And he was uncharacteristically emotional.
yeah.
Like when we parted company, he was. And there's a picture of me and him and like the back of Chris Rock said, I put it in my special. That picture that's in the end of the closer was the last time that I saw him.
Wow.
And he stood there. He came up, he stood behind me. I looked, he said, hey, he looked up. And I realized he was posing for the picture in hindsight. Like a gift.
That's nice.
It was a very fitting goodbye.
That is so sweet, Dave.
Yeah.
Hey man, what about when he was emotional and saying goodbye to you on the show?
At the time when, and like Conan suggests, I didn't know he was ill, so surprised. In thinking about that moment, he must have known a great deal about what his future was and how long it might have been. I always took it as an enormous compliment that my emotional situation had affected him.
Right.
But now, to be fair, this guy knew more than just I was leaving.
Well, he was crazy about you. I mean,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
talked about it.
absolutely.
That's very
Yeah,
I
sad.
saw him on your show once, and he said, I've seen more sunsets than I will ever see. He said that to you on his show.
Yeah.
His here different. I'm sorry to interrupt, though.
No, that's okay. I probably cut him off and said, we got to get to Al Roker now. He probably was about to say something very profound, and I'm like, that's great, Norm. Al Roker's here. He came up 3 floors to be with us tonight, and he's got nothing. Al Roker.
I was saying I saw him at the SNL 40th, and I didn't know he had cancer or anything, but I remember as soon as he saw me, he was like, I love you, Molly. Just he blurted out right away.
Yeah.
And I think I was like, oh, I just had a sense of like, I could feel that he had this kind of urgency to say exactly what was on his mind in the moment.
Right.
Because maybe he'll never have that moment again. And I was like, oh, something's different with Norm.
The last time I saw him with any regularity was we all went on a tour to do just stand up. Like
The 3 of you guys.
it was
I had a
even
couple other guys.
funny because we had a text chain of a bunch of us, and
Oh, yeah,
we would
we had
all
a
fuck
text
around.
chain. Yeah.
And then one time he was arguing with Schneider about something and about stand up, and he goes, "I'm the best comic out of all of us," and everyone went, "Yeah."
That's true.
No one fought back. They go, "Okay."
Yeah, you're right.
We'll give you
Yeah,
that
I
one.
think that's fair.
Yeah, it was
honestly.
fair.
Yeah.
And we go, sure. But he was, what the nice thing is we were flying around or on the bus or backstage. He would come in and do bits. He wanted to keep, I like that, when people are still funny and he's a good laugher. And that's always nice when a comic is a good laugher too, instead of just only going one way with it. They like to crack up with people. And that was a fucking blast. Did you wear a cowboy hat the whole time?
He bought a cowboy hat and all of a sudden
Norm, cowboy hat.
cowboy hat
Yeah,
walking
so
around.
weird, yeah. Like
He would do that
on
thing.
stage, he would
He
sit
sometimes would sit.
We do a
Sometimes
Q&A.
he'd be late in the morning because we're all taking off, and I would just go, hey, no, man, we got to get to this place, and he'd give me a look, and then after he passed away, then I realized he was giving me a look like, what the fuck do you want from me? I'm going through some shit, man. But he'd be like, yeah, all right. You know.
But never any deeper knowledge of it than that?
Never anything.
Yeah.
Never let you know anything. He did get emotional a lot, though. Like, on the whole tour, he would just all of a sudden get really teary-eyed and stuff, and he'd be like, this is wonderful, like just the tour itself, and like hanging out, and we'd have dinners and breakfasts and shit, and he was more... he'd just be so much fun to see. He had so much energy to hang.
The hard part about not telling people, which it would worry me a little bit, is I got slightly angry because during the thing, he would set up dinners with me and he would keep canceling. And I didn't know if it was a bit but it got frustrating because I go, if you're scared of a corona, just come over to the house and just be me and you, we'll sit across or whatever. Yeah, that's what I want. I like just a good night with Davey. And then he goes, and then that night I go, where? He goes, I can't, it's COVID. I go, I know, but we just talked about this. And then a week later, do you want to have dinner? And I go, biting a fucking hook. But I don't even know if it was I think he would maybe think about it and then he'd go, I don't feel good or something. But later, I was getting irritated because I'm like, you can come over. I didn't know what was going on, but if I did, of course, I'd go, whatever you want, I'll.
But I'm a little like that because I would love to have dinner with each of you, but it'll never happen.
We've all tried. We've all tried.
When I've seen your work, I've never seen anyone better. I've just never seen anybody better.
The worst thing that can happen to you in your mind when you're working out is that you'll lose it all or you'll blow it. But once you face it, it's not everything. Have you ever worked all your life for something and have it not work out? That happened to me. It was tough. Think about it. I was gone for 12 years. It's not a little bit of time. It was hell. I watched other niggas that I knew become very famous. I watched the world go on without me. I mourned the loss of it, and after a while, I didn't care. I err on the side of excess, and there's instances where you go too far. You're playing with powerful shit, doing jokes about racism and this ism and that ism. I respect everybody's beliefs except Amish people. Because they are the only ones that I can say clearly their God is wrong. Speed limit is 75 miles an hour in Ohio, and one lane of traffic is blocked by a goddamn horse and buggy. Nigga, your God is ridiculous. The attempts at these jokes, they're like Evel Knievel tricks. I hope to land them, but I actually write jokes backwards. I will write a punchline with no particular setup in mind. I just put it on a scrap of paper, and I'll throw that scrap of paper in my fishbowl. I have a fishbowl in my house filled with random punchlines. And every once in a while, I'll shake the bowl, and I'll dig in there and just pull one out and see if I can make that shit work. Any job that makes you depend on the approval of others for your livelihood, it's a crazy job. You know, normally when you do a comedy show, you guys don't know what it looks like up here, but niggas be looking up at you like. That's how the show started. It didn't take long for the faces to switch up like, I started looking amongst themselves. So I knew I wasn't doing good. I don't remember what I was saying. So much of the work of art is on the viewer to an interpreter. The sermon is on them. More than ever, they got to do their own work. It's a black lady with the Ford Motor shirt on. Stood up suddenly. Fuck you, Dave Chappelle. I said, excuse me? You will never get your fucking money back. It's easy for me to do things if I've seen them before. Because of your show, many of the things I learned to do, I saw them somewhere. This might be the noblest of professions. Robin Williams had a bar that I loved. He said, comedy is the only job you can have where you can use everything you know. And that's true. You can use more than you know. If you use what you think, use it. Don't be afraid. Don't let these bitch-ass niggas button your lip. Say it anyway.
Captain Dave speaking. Please welcome Erica Badu.